Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're doing a detailed tutorial on the module 3088 that's in this G9100 Gulfman. And just like in all my other tutorial videos, in the description you will find a table of content with timecode so you can jump to a specific function if you're interested. However, I do advise you to watch this whole tutorial for the first time just so you get acquainted with all the functions that this watch offers. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to set up the watch. You have to be in the home screen. You're going to know that you're in the home screen because you're going to have the time here and you're going to have the calendar data here. If you're in any other mode, simply cycle with the mode button until you hear a different beep and you see the home screen. Like that. It says home time. Okay, while in the home screen, you press and hold the adjust button and the watch is going to enter the settings screen. Once in the settings screen, the seconds are going to flash, so you can reset them to sync them to an atomic clock. If you reset them after 30 seconds, so from 30 to 59, they're going to jump to 0, but the minutes are going to move by 1 up. If you reset them before 30 seconds, they're going to jump to 0, but the minutes are going to stay unchanged. You reset them with the lower button. So let's reset it now. And as you can see, the minutes jump to 9. If we reset it now before 30 seconds, they're going to jump back to 0, but the minutes stay unchanged. Also, while the seconds are flashing, you can select the illumination duration. So you have this symbol here, and pressing this light button is going to change from this symbol to this. Like this, when you press the light is going to stay on for 1.5 seconds. If you press it like this, it's going to stay on for 3 seconds. Okay, moving on. Press the mode button and the watch is going to ask you about the DST setting, which is the summer and winter time. Currently we're observing winter time, so DST or daylight savings time is turned off. To toggle it on, you simply press this. So whenever you change between summer and winter time, don't move the hours, but simply turn this DST on or off. Okay, pressing the mode button again takes us to the UTC difference. So this watch doesn't have the cities that you select as your home time, but rather your time zone. So you have to know which time zone you're in, and then you can go due west or due east. I'm at +1 UTC, which is Paris, Zagreb, and most of Europe. Once you've selected, and you have to select this time difference correctly because all the times in the world time function are calculated based on what your home city is or home time zone. Pressing the mode button again takes us to the hours. Now you can set up the time by using these two buttons. You can go up, you can go down, and you can also speed scroll by holding the button, like so. Pressing the mode button again, the same for the minutes, so up and down, and you can also speed scroll. Pressing it again asks you about the years. Again, you can go up, you can go down. Pressing it again, the mode button, you select the month. Again, you can go up, you can go down. And pressing it again asks you about the date. Again, up and down. The day of the week is calculated automatically, so the watch is not going to ask you about that. Pressing the mode button again takes us to the light or sync, so you can toggle it with the lower button. And what this means is that the watch is going to have a flash alert. Whenever the timer reaches 0 or an alarm goes off, the watch is not just going to beep, but also going to flash with the screen or with the backlight. To turn it off, you simply toggle it again with the lower button. Pressing the mode button again takes us back to the seconds and the selection of the illumination. So if you missed anything, you simply toggle it with the mode button until you get to the desired setting, and then you set it with these two buttons. Before you exit the adjusting screen, pressing it once is going to take you to the moon phase and tide selection, or should I say setting. So here you have to choose your location or your longitude. Sadly, the watch doesn't calculate it based on your UTC setting, so you have to manually change it every time when you change your location. And you can go east and west, or should I say increase and decrease the degrees. Once you select the degrees, press the mode button to choose whether or not it's an east longitude in degrees or western one. And that's pretty much it. Pressing the mode button again, the watch asks you about the longitudinal interval, which is the difference between the time when the moon passes your meridian where you are and the next high tide, because the moon, as it passes your location, raises the water. It's causing the high tide. However, there's a slight delay between when the moon passes and the high tide actually appears. So you have to put the differential here to get the accurate tide data. And you can do it via Google by searching for the meridian crossing of the moon of your meridian, and then get another Google search to tell you when the high tides are for that day. So if you see, let's say, that the moon passes your meridian at 3 a.m. and the next high tide is at, let's say, 6 a.m., the difference is going to be 3 hours. So you just select 3, and pressing the mode, it's also going to ask you for the minutes. So you can be pretty precise. And that's pretty much it. Pressing the mode button again takes you back to the longitude setting, and pressing the adjust again takes you out of the adjusting screen. And that's pretty much it. Okay, in the home screen, you can choose whether you want the AM PM indicator or 24-hour display by pressing this. Sadly now it's AM, so the watch doesn't do any difference, but if it was 8 PM, pressing this would toggle between 8 PM and 20 hours, like so. Pressing this is going to activate the light, and the light is going to stay on for 3 seconds because we selected it. Pressing and holding this is going to activate the auto light, so press and hold. And there, now we have auto EL, meaning that if you put the watch level and then tilt it to your face, it's gonna light up and stay like that for 3 seconds because we selected 3 seconds. Since this is not a solar watch, so it's gonna keep doing it even when it's not dark. To save the battery, this automatic EL is going to turn itself off after 6 hours, after which you have to turn it on again. You can also turn it off manually by pressing and holding the light button, just the way you activated it. There, now it's turned off, so if we tilt the watch, nothing is gonna happen. Pressing the adjust button doesn't do anything, but pressing and holding is gonna take us again into the settings screen. Now in any mode, including the home time, if you press and hold the mode button for more than a couple of seconds, you're gonna jump to the next function, but you're also going to activate the mute function. So now when we operate the buttons, the watch doesn't make any noise. Again, if we press and hold, we deactivate the mute function, and now the watch does make beeping every time when we press the button. Okay, that's it when it comes to the home screen. The next one is the tide and moon phase. So you have the moon and you have the age of the moon. Pressing the adjust button is going to toggle between the moon phase indicator and the tide indicator. When you jump into the tide, it's going to be for this date at 6 a.m. It always starts at 6 a.m. and then pressing the lower button cycles you through the hours of that day, like so. Every time when you exit this mode and come back, it's going to reset to 6 hours. So let's put it back to 6. And while in the moon phase, you can select a different date. So pressing the lower button is going to change the days. So if we're interested in, let's say 20th of November, we select it like this, and then we jump back to the tide. It's going to display the tide at 20th of November at 6 a.m. And again, we can go forward to see at certain times of that day. You can also select any date in the future by pressing and holding the adjust button, and the watch is going to ask you for the year. You can select any year you want. Pressing the mode is going to ask you for the month. Again, you can select any month you want, and pressing it again is going to ask you for the date, so you can select any date you want. And once you exit, the watch is going to show you the moon, and pressing this, the tide for that date and that month and that year, which is pretty cool if you're planning a trip to some surfing location and you're interested on the tide of that day. Pretty cool. And that's pretty much it when it comes to this tide and moon phase function. Okay, moving on. The next one is the world time. The world time is pretty simple on this, so it's just going to tell you the time zone and it's going to tell you the hours. You can go only due east, which is a shame, so if you miss your time zone where you wanted to check the time, you're going to have to scroll all the way back to get back to that time zone. You can also change the DST setting for each and every time zone here by pressing and holding the adjust button. the DST is going to turn itself off and the hours are going to move by 1 up if this time zone is currently observing DST or summertime. To turn it off, again, you press the adjust and turn it off, and you can do it for each time zone individually. That's pretty much it. Okay, so moving on. The next one is a stopwatch. This is a 24-hour stopwatch. It has split times, first and second place, and you can also do the auto start. So the basic way to do it is to simply start it, stop it, reset it. You can also do the split times, so you start, and pressing this while the stopwatch is running is going to freeze the screen, but the stopwatch keeps running in the background. Then you have to stop it, reset it once, reset it twice. You can do the first and second place. So you start the stopwatch with this button. Once the first runner goes through the finish line, you press the adjust button. Once the second one goes through, you press the lower button. Now you can write the time of the first runner. Pressing it again shows you the time of the second runner, and pressing it again resets. Also, if you're doing some kind of a race or a run and you don't want to start it as you're moving on, you can press the adjust button while the stopwatch is not running. So pressing it activates a pre-count of 5 seconds. Now when you start the stopwatch, it's going to count down 5 seconds, and then you can go right at the mark, like so. Pretty cool function. Stop it, reset it. To turn off the pre-start, you simply toggle it with this adjust button. And that's pretty much it. Moving on. Next is the countdown timer. This comes with a 24-hour countdown timer settable down to the minute. So you can start it. Once it reaches 0, it's going to beep. You can stop it, you can reset it, and like I said, you can adjust it to any time between 1 minute and 24 hours. To adjust it, the timer can't be running, and then you press and hold the adjust button. The watch asks you for the hours. Again, just like with the main time, you can go up, you can go down. Pressing the mode button asks you for the minutes. So let's say like this, 1 hour 55 minutes. And then pressing it again asks you whether you want it to be a one-time alarm or one-time countdown timer or a repeat countdown timer, meaning if you select it like this, once it reaches 0, it's gonna beep and then gonna start right over, and it's gonna repeat itself up to 8 times, after which it's gonna stop automatically. Pressing the mode button again also asks you whether you want the progress beeper, meaning that for every, I believe, half an hour or something like that, it's gonna beep telling you that you're coming closer to your mark, and you toggle it with the lower button. You can keep it at on or off. Pressing the mode button again jumps back to the selection of the hours and minutes. And that's pretty much it. So you exit, and then you can start, and now the watch is gonna go from 1 hour 55 minutes all the way to 0, beep, and repeat itself up to 8 times until you stop it. That's pretty much it. Reset it and move on. The next one, or the last function, is the alarm. This watch comes with 3 alarms, with one being a snooze alarm, and over here you also set up the hourly chime, meaning the beep of every full hour. Once you select the desired function, in this case it's the hourly chime, pressing the adjust button is gonna activate it. So now the watch is gonna beep every full hour, and you have this SIG symbol right here. Selecting any of the alarms, pressing this adjust button is gonna also toggle it on or off. So now we have the ALM here, and the watch is going to display that alarm 1 is on because you have the ALM. When you jump to alarm 2, it's going to disappear, meaning that this one is turned off. However, when you go into the home screen, if you have any of the alarms turned on, you're going to have the ALM here and the hourly chime here if you have the hourly chime turned on. Only when you go into the alarm, it's going to actually display you which alarm is turned on by putting the ALM only when you're in the alarm that's been turned on. And this way, in this case, it's the alarm 1. You can toggle it off by pressing the adjust button. Naturally, you can also set the alarm to any desired time by simply selecting the alarm you want to set and pressing and holding the adjust button. So press and hold. The alarm is automatically going to turn itself on, and now you can select the hours, and pressing the mode button asks you for the minutes. Like so. If you exit the adjusting screen now, you're going to have a daily alarm that's going to beep every day at 3:05 a.m. However, you can also program this alarm to be a yearly alarm, a monthly alarm, or a daily alarm. So while you're in the settings, press the mode button, and the watch is going to ask you for the month. And here, if we put something like this alarm is going to go off every day of the month of February at 3:05 a.m. If we press the mode button and put the date as well, this alarm is going to be a yearly alarm that's going to go off on the 4th of February at 3:05 every year. If, however, we select the day but put the month to hyphens, now this alarm is going to go off every month, every third day of any month at 3:05 a.m. So I hope you understand that. Okay, moving on, put this back to hyphens, and now again you have a daily alarm. And that's pretty much it. To exit the adjusting screen, you press the adjust. You can do the same with the second alarm and also with the snooze alarm. The difference is that the snooze alarm is going to keep repeating itself after 5 or 10 minutes until you go into the snooze alarm and actually turn it off by toggling with the adjust button. And that's pretty much it. The hourly chime already set, so if you want to turn it off, you simply toggle it with the adjust button. And that's it. Pressing the move button takes us back to the home screen. Anyways, that completes this whole tutorial and all the functions of this beautiful G91 Gulfman. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.